Your friend in Central Illinois. WHOW.
Top of the morning. Thanks for being with us. I'm your host today, Seth Lawrence. The WHOW Morning Show streams to Facebook and YouTube, brought to you by Peterson Insurance, your Pekin Insurance agent in Clinton. My guest on the Zoom today is Dr. Lisa Taylor, Superintendent of Heyworth Schools. It's good to see you, Dr. Taylor. How are you today?
Good morning. Glad to be back. Nice to see you.
I know. Yeah. I always miss the summer hiatus. I really do. I know you guys need some R&R and there's not a lot going on in the summer, but doggone it, I just miss talking to you guys. You guys are just fantastic. How was your summer, by the way?
It goes fast,
Yeah.
and it just seems like it's been a long time since I talked to you, but yet it's the quickest break of the year. It's one of those weird phenomenons.
No doubt. Well, hey, I'll tell you what, when did you get your kids back in the classroom? How's the first week or however long it's been for school there in Heyworth?
Well, staff came back on the 17th. I think that was a Monday, and then students on the 19th. And so they haven't been back long, but it does feel like we've been in school for a long time now, because when school starts, fall starts, the sports start with a bang. Junior high sports start before school. And so then there's something every night of the week. I just feel like it's the quickest start every time, and there's so much going on. So, we're well into football, volleyball, junior high baseball, softball, golf, cross country. Like everything is just going. Once you get going, it's like a sprint.
Yeah.
And so it feels like we've been in school for a couple months. Everybody's exhausted. We're just hoping for Labor Day.
We've been in school a couple of weeks and we're already exhausted.
Yeah. I think you walk around. Last night I was in bed and I was like, my feet hurt so bad. And I walked a lot this summer and exercised, but it's a different kind of pain now.
Yeah. Right. It's not that casual, I know you're walking to benefit your health, but it's just a different walk when there's, stress involved and work involved. It's a different stress on your legs and your hips and your knees and all that stuff. So.
Yeah. I'm walking to survive now. There's kids running everywhere.
Oh, this is classic, Dr. Taylor. I love it. So you guys got back, you said the 19th?
19th. Yeah.
Okay. So you've been in a little bit more than a week. How's the first week gone? I mean, you mentioned it's kind of a, sprint to the start, but how is the routine going and all those things?
Yeah, it's been really great. It's just good to have everybody back. The buildup, I always say, is similar to a wedding. Like, it is very stressful right before. And sometimes it feels like we've never had school before. You get a lot of questions that you're like, is this a trick question? I promise we had school last year.
Right. Is this your first day on earth type of a thing?
And people who have lived here and sometimes worked here forever ask stuff like, that we've done before, like, where do we drop off our kids? And I'm like,
Oh,
and sometimes they just ask it on social media instead of, and I'm like, this is a trick. I know this is a trick. So we try to do our best at sending out, 100 reminders and posting everything on social media. And then school starts and everybody just adjusts and it's like normal. And of course, everybody's busy with children. And so it does just calm down and we're like, okay, we're back. Everything's normal.
Yeah.
There's always little hiccups, but for the most part, it's been very smooth sailing and it's just good to see everybody happy and glad to be back. And for us, a little bit different this year, and I'll give my start of the schools report in September because our August board meeting was early and we'll talk about it later. We had to move that up so we have time to get a referendum on the ballot. And there's, timelines for that. So our August meeting was early. I'll give my start of schools at September board meeting, but our enrollment is going to be down. And I think it will be under 800 for the first time in a long time, definitely in my 11 years here. And I really think it's just attributed to the housing shortage. Our earlier grades are smaller than they've ever been. And we've seen this pattern the last few years. So K3 are averaging around 50. And our grades were always 60 to 75. And so you're seeing that effect and just like in many towns, but if a house goes up for sale here, it's usually sold the same day or it's a bidding war. So it's sold in a couple days. And we're just seeing that impact on enrollment. And so we'll be planning for that. We have some master facilities planning this year. And some other, sorry, I'm turning off my radio at the same time so you don't start hearing every announcement in the district. And so we'll be talking about that at September's board meeting, but watching that closely, and we'll have final enrollment numbers after the 10th day.
Got it. Gotcha. Very good. Did you guys put budget on file in August, or do you do that sooner than that?
Yeah, I presented our tentative budget, and our budget's around 17 million, and we do have a deficit. We did have last year. And that's strategically spending down some of our reserves and trying to just minimize the impact on property taxpayers. And so one of the board goals has been to keep the school district property tax rate as low as we can. McLean County property tax rates are high, and even though we have consistently been the last few years the lowest or the second lowest, nobody ever brags about that in Heyworth or anywhere for that matter. But we continue to have that goal. And so we've been spending down some reserves. Our two main areas with deficits, you hear superintendents talk about mandated categoricals, but really what that comes down to is special education and transportation for us. So transportation continues to run at a deficit. We transferred funds out of our working cash, which is like a savings. So we transferred funds there last year. And then special education for us, we're really talking alternative placements. So kids that we cannot serve here. So for us, a lot of times those are going to be kids in residential placements, maybe places where kids live, and you don't think about that. Sometimes in state, sometimes out of state. So Wisconsin, sometimes Massachusetts, wherever they have, serious needs, often medical needs too. And school districts, if their family resides within your district, school districts pay those costs, right? And sometimes several $100,000 per student, and then you are reimbursed. The reimbursement is usually 50 to 60% per child. And so we have about a $500,000 deficit in that area. So the board spent some time talking about that, and how long can we go, right? Continuing to minimize that burden on property taxpayers, but do we have to look at increasing our levy a little bit this year? You don't want to spend your reserves down so far that then one year you're taking a huge jump in property taxes, because nobody says, hey, thank you for what you did in the past. We understand why you're making a huge jump this year. So we'll be having more conversations about that too.
Is that having the lowest property tax rate in McLean County kind of like having the least expensive apartment on Park Avenue?
Yeah, exactly. And, nobody looks at just the school district property tax rate. School districts are your largest taxing body,
sure,
right?
Yeah,
But they're one of many. There's your library, your fire department, your community college, there's your village, right? And so nobody looks, you can see it on your property tax bill, but what people look at is how much do I pay in property taxes total? And how much did I pay last year? And then some people look at, hey, the school's getting most of my money, right? That most of my taxes are going to them. And so usually they're going to be the ones that if I'm mad at anybody, it's going to be them. Hopefully they're proud of us. Our school, I think, does a great job. I think it's why a lot of people move here. And I think I know that generally people are very proud of us and proud of the work that we do. So hopefully that outweighs the financial burden.
Dr. Lisa Taylor, Superintendent of Heyworth Schools, my guest on the Zoom today. And I just feel like we're playing squirrel today, Dr. Taylor. We're just all over the place here this morning. With kids being back in school, anything new this year in terms of whether it's curriculum, whether it's procedures, whether it's, I don't know, what stands out about anything new this year for you?
Yeah, for us, we really just try to get better at what we're doing. There's always some new things that teachers are trying, but big picture, I struggle with. I believe we have a responsibility to keep up with technology, keep up with new things. But I think there's a balance. We don't want to burn everybody out on trying something new every year. I'm still a teacher at heart, and every new fad, we don't need to do that, right? We need to be really good at the fundamentals. I'm a leader that believes in that. We need to be really good at teaching, reading, writing, and math, right? Because what it comes down to later is that kids are not going to be good citizens. They're not going to be good employees if you can't read and write well. And so our board goal is specifically that, right? We want kids reading, writing, and fluent with math and on grade level by third grade. And so we really focus on those. We have some really new, cool things going on. I think you and I have talked about it before, but we had a $750,000 donation to basically completely renovate our ag building, which is going to hugely, benefit our FFA programs. And so that should be finished in October. We have some cool facility projects. We have some updated reading curriculum, but focusing on those same fundamentals, right? And many of our grade levels chose just an updated version of the same program. So not throwing out completely what we were doing. Our grade levels are performing well. And we're looking at math this year, and our teachers are already talking about we got the best scores we've ever had before on our benchmark assessment for math at the end of last year. And so our first step in curriculum review is, do we need to change anything? It's not, hey, we have this money in the budget and we can buy new stuff, so let's just spend it and buy something new. It's really looking at what we're doing. Is it working? And if it is, do we need to update materials? Do we need something new? Because we don't want to just change for the sake of change. So kind of updated our curriculum review process to really have staff weigh in on that.
I always enjoy the conversation of a solution in search of a problem sometimes, So yeah.
But the most new thing we have is new staff, right?
How about your staffing this year?
Yeah, so we have a new assistant principal. She, of course, is not brand new to us. She's from Heyworth. She was a teacher here. And so we have a new assistant principal at the elementary. We have a new special ed administrator. We have several people who've kind of moved around. We have several new teachers and then several new paraprofessionals, but all of our positions were filled at the start of school. So that's really good. And you wouldn't think we'd be celebrating that, but that's a big celebration.
Right.
Especially because we had a resignation and a parapro kind of late in the year. So all of those were filled. And, before we know it, we currently have, I think, only one planned retirement in teaching for this year. So we'll be posting that soon. It's in special education, and those are hard to fill, and we'll start working on that.
How's your stash, if you will, of substitute teachers?
Yeah, so we've been getting a few applicants lately, and so that's really good. And now our new strategy, which I'm sure everybody else already does too, anytime somebody applies for anything, we start looking at them, especially if we know them and they're a local person. If they apply for subbing and we have something else open, we always reach out or call them and say, hey, we saw you applied for this, but would you also be interested in this? Because that's the way you get people in the door to your district, right? And they might have thought, ooh, that sounds a little bit scary, right? Or, I applied for para, but I don't really think I want to sub, because sometimes substituting sounds scary, especially if you think, I don't want to substitute in band or PE or whatever it is, high school kids, right? Some people love elementary and not high school. And so we really encourage them to come try it out, or we'll let you just shadow a teacher for a day. Just sometimes just getting people in to see it. And so that's a strategy we've used that's working really well too, to build that pool.
Very good. On that note, Dr. Taylor, anything we did not touch on as it relates to back to school you'd like to share with us today?
Well, we play a nearby rival. You may have heard of them Friday. Football is versus Clinton. We want to encourage everyone from Clinton to stay home. Do not come to the game.
I don't know.
Clinton brings everybody from town.
Yeah.
They travel well. We're really close.
Yeah, sure. That should be a fun game,
really.
I think.
We think it's fun to play nearby neighbors. I mean, it really does bring everybody out, and everybody from Heyworth comes, and there's lots of fun activities going on that night. And so,
good.
I feel like there's a home game every night in Heyworth, but that's one we did. We've played Clinton in basketball, but haven't always played them in football. So it's been fun. I'm sure it's going to be a great contest Friday night too.
Very good. Well, on that note, Dr. Taylor, let's break. Come back with some more. Dr. Lisa Taylor is the superintendent of Heyworth Schools, our guest on the Zoom. More to come with Dr. Taylor on the WHOW Morning Show.
WHOW.
Let's check the opening numbers now at the Chicago Board of Trade on this Thursday. I'm Jim Taylor on the RFD Radio Network. Corn and beans starting the day lower, and Chicago wheat slightly higher. September corn opening 510.5, down 3.5. December corn down 3 1/4, 533 1/4. March corn 546 3/4, down 4. September beans starting the day down 8, 1246 1/4. November beans down 6 3/4, 1259 1/4. January beans 1274 1/4. Down 6.5. September Chicago wheat $7.32, up 1.5. September KC wheat is up a penny, $7.39. September bean meal, $331.90, up 3.20. September bean oil down to $1.48, 65.74. Energy market, October Brent crude oil up 86 cents, 88.70. Opening numbers on this Thursday morning. I'm Jim Taylor, and this is the RFD Radio Network.
Baum Chevrolet Buick offers full transportation options while giving you peace of mind. This is Scott Baum from Baum Chevrolet Buick here in Clinton. This is what we do every day. We listen to you, give you options for routine maintenance, major mechanical problems, or collision repairs with a staff that's knowledgeable to find the best option for you. Baum Chevrolet Buick, your full-service dealer. See us at baumchevybuick.com right from the start.
Here's Matt Hart, owner of the Hart Media Group in Clinton, talking about continuing to serve the community through new ownership.
Things came together and we reached an agreement to purchase. And as you mentioned, we closed August the 1st. So as August the 1st, Miller Media Group is now Hart Media Group. And we're continuing to serve the people of Clinton and DeWitt County and Monticello and Bloomington and Decatur and everywhere, because we'll just keep connecting people as we've been doing.
The Hart Media Group looks forward to continuing to serve the community for years to come.
Your friend in Central Illinois, WHOW.
Once again, a good morning. Thanks for being with us. I'm your host today, Seth Lawrence. The WHOW Morning Show streams to Facebook and YouTube, brought to you by Peterson Insurance, your Pekin Insurance agent in Clinton. Again, my guest on the Zoom is Dr. Lisa Taylor, superintendent of Heyworth Schools. And Dr. Taylor, we talked budget in the last segment. 1 cent sales tax is new in McLean County, and those dollars either are or should soon be flowing in. What is Heyworth planning to do with this influx of revenue?
Yeah, so last year we received about 9 months worth of sales tax, which we had budgeted for around $750,000, and we got a little bit over that, around $875,000. And so a good chunk of that, about 40%, we use for mental health services for students. So think counselors, social workers, that sort of thing. And we purchased a residential property near our elementary school that will eventually be used for expansion, likely parking, that sort of thing, and a tiny bit for facility projects. And then this year, a little bit more of the same. So around $400,000. We're budgeting for $1 million, so a full year's worth of revenue. That allows us then to not levy as much in the operation and maintenance fund. And is part of why we've been able to keep that property tax rate lower. And there's another residential property on that same street, and it's actually right next to our ball diamond and in between our parking lot that we built in the last couple of years. And so we are purchasing that house on September 11th. The board voted on that at the most recent board meeting, authorized the board president to purchase that home. And so we will purchase that property. No immediate plans, but eventually it will be demolished, and we'll use it maybe for storage in the interim. So mental health services again in that residential property, a little bit of asbestos abatement that's affiliated with the ag building project that we were talking about earlier. That was kind of unknown asbestos issue. That was not included with the donation previously. So excited to do that work. And then we're kind of building up reserves with the remainder of the sales tax funds to use. Eventually, the board will determine, do they either do a property tax abatement? They haven't been doing it as we go because it's not enough that I think property taxpayers would feel it. So they could do a one-time large abatement, maybe every 3 or 4 years, or they could just pay off debt early, which obviously taxpayers would feel. We don't have any bonds callable, which means any debt we could pay off early right now without penalty, but the board will have in a couple of years. And so as the finance committee continues to meet, they'll make those recommendations to the full board. And I think you will hear more about that and some final decisions made in the next 2 years.
Sure. You know, to have that kind of revenue, infused into your budget, that's really huge. It really is.
Yeah, and I think that coupled with, I saw an article, it was on social media, so I haven't read the full article, in the local newspaper here today about a federal decision related to wind farms and that sort of thing. Ours has been delayed for a couple years. But if that were to come back in the picture, the one proposed in the Heyworth, Leroy, Tri-Valley area, that was estimated to be around $1 million per year. Those two things combined could completely change financial trajectory, right? And property taxes in this area.
I'm sure you know full well, Jason Spang and Mount Pulaski, those guys are benefiting immensely from all the wind development in their footprint. So
yeah, it definitely changes things and has a significant impact on property taxes.
That it does. Dr. Taylor, I've got about a minute left with you this morning. Did I miss anything about back to school or things happening in the district you want to put out there for us?
The only other thing, and the reason we moved the board meeting, is there will be the referendum on the ballot again. Every time we have an unfilled board seat after the election, there's a referendum where voters get to decide if they're going to eliminate the geographic restriction in Heyworth, which basically currently no more than 3 board members can come from any same congressional townships. We have that, which is basically a geographic restriction. And the proposal basically allows board members to be elected at large. So not limited based on where you live. So voters will vote on that again.
All right. Well, look forward to that. Very good. Dr. Taylor, how do folks follow along with all things Heyworth Schools?
Yeah, follow us on Facebook or social media. We also have an app, and our website is husd4.org. Thanks for having me on.
Yeah, thanks, Dr. Taylor. Always good to see you. Dr. Lisa Taylor is the superintendent of Heyworth Schools, my guest on the Zoom. Network News comes your way next on The Morning Show.